I need you to hear this before anything else, before the comfort, before the promise, before anything I am about to say about what is coming. I need you to hear the thing that matters most first. I was there. When it happened, whatever it was, whoever did it, however it unfolded, I was in the room. I did not look away. I did not miss it. I did not receive a report about it secondhand. I was present for every single moment of what was done to you. And I have never once forgotten a detail of it. You have carried something that felt unseen for too long. The particular weight of a wound that no one fully witnessed. Maybe the people around you saw pieces of it. Maybe they saw none of it. Maybe the ones who should have protected you were the ones who caused it, which meant there was no one to turn to and say, "Did you see that? Did you see what just happened to me?" And the absence of a witness made the wound heavier than the wound itself. Because pain that is unseen feels like pain that does not count. Like it happened in a vacuum. Like it will never be acknowledged, never be addressed, never be made right. I am here to tell you directly, it was seen. Every moment of it was seen. By me. And nothing that is seen by me goes unaddressed forever. I want to be specific with you, because general comfort is not what you need right now. You do not need someone to tell you that everything happens for a reason or that time heals all wounds or that you should focus on the good things in your life. You need someone to look you in the eye, the way I am looking at you right now, and say, "I know what happened. I know who did it. I know what it cost you. I know what it took from you. I know what you have been carrying since. And I have not been silent about it in the unseen places, even when everything visible suggested I had nothing to say. So before we go any further, let that land. You were not invisible in your pain. You were not alone in the room where it happened. And the wound you have been carrying was never too small or too complicated or too old for me to see clearly. I see it now the same way I saw it then, with full attention, with nothing missing, with a love for you that did not waver for a single second while it was happening. Let me go back with you for a moment. Not to reopen the wound, but to show you that you were not alone in it the way you believed you were. Think about the moment things changed. The specific moment. The conversation that went wrong and never recovered. The decision someone made that altered the entire trajectory of your life without asking your permission. The trust you extended that was taken and used against you. The love you gave that was treated as worthless. The loyalty you showed that was rewarded with betrayal. Whatever the specific shape of it, I was there when it happened. I saw the look on their face. I heard the words they said, the ones they said out loud and the ones they said only in their own mind. I knew their motive before they acted on it. I saw you in that moment, the version of you that was open, that was trusting, that had not yet learned to protect yourself from that particular kind of pain. And I watched what happened to that version of you when the thing landed. I watched the expression change. I watched something close behind your eyes. I watched you make a decision, in a fraction of a second, about whether the world was safe and whether people could be trusted and whether you were the kind of person that things like this happened to. I saw that decision being made. And I have been working ever since to get you back to the truth of who you are, before that moment rewrote your understanding of yourself. Because that is what the deepest wounds do. They do not just hurt, they teach. They become professors of a curriculum you never enrolled in, and they teach you things about yourself and about the world and about what you deserve that are simply not true. They teach you that you are the common denominator in your own pain. They teach you that people will always eventually leave, always eventually betray, always eventually reveal that what looked like love had conditions attached. They teach you to expect less, to trust less, to hope less. And you learn those lessons well, because you had to. Because surviving required it. But I am not interested in your survival at the cost of your wholeness. I did not create you to survive the people who hurt you. I created you to flourish beyond them. And flourishing requires unlearning what the wound taught, not by pretending the wound did not happen, but by allowing me to be the one who tells you the truth about what it meant and what it did not mean about who you are. I want to acknowledge something that often gets skipped over in conversations about healing and moving forward: the cost. What was taken from you? Not just the event itself, but what the event removed from your life going forward. Because wounds do not only hurt in the moment. They restructure things. They change the layout of a person's inner life in ways that take years to fully map. I saw what you lost. I am not talking only about the obvious losses, the relationship that ended, the opportunity that was taken, the version of the future you had planned that became impossible after what happened. I am talking about the subtler losses. The lightness you carried before. The ease with which you used to trust. The part of you that could walk into a room full of people and feel safe without scanning for exits. The ability to receive love without immediately looking for the catch. The version of you that could let good things land without spending the first week waiting for them to be taken away. Those losses are real. I am not minimizing them by telling you that restoration is coming. I am acknowledging them fully, before I tell you what I am going to do about them. Some of you lost years. Not just time, but the version of yourself that would have existed during those years if the wound had not happened. The confidence that would have grown. The relationships that would have formed. The risks you would have taken if fear had not moved in and made itself at home in the space where courage used to live. You look at certain areas of your life and you know, this is behind where it should be. And underneath the practical reality of that is a grief that is hard to name because it is about something that never happened. About a version of your life that got redirected before it could become what it was supposed to become. I see that grief. I do not rush past it. I do not tell you to count your blessings and stop mourning what was lost. Grief for what was taken from you is legitimate. It is not weakness. It is not a lack of faith. It is an honest response to a real loss. And I would rather you bring that grief to me openly than bury it under performance and pretend the ledger is balanced when you both know it is not. The ledger is not balanced. What was taken from you was real. And I am the God who restores, not the God who pretends there was nothing to restore. I want to address something directly that has lived in the back of your mind for longer than you want to admit. The question of whether what was done to you will ever be addressed. Whether the person who hurt you will ever face any consequence. Whether justice is a real thing that operates in the world, or just a concept that sounds good but never actually arrives for the people who need it most. I see that question. I know it lives alongside the faith, not replacing it, but sitting next to it in the quiet moments. You have forgiven, or you are trying to forgive, or you know you are supposed to forgive and you are somewhere in the middle of that long process. But forgiveness does not erase the question of justice. Forgiving someone is not the same as deciding that what they did does not matter. And the tension between those two things, the call to forgive and the deep human need for wrongs to be made right, is something I understand completely. I am not asking you to pretend what they did was acceptable. I am asking you to let me be the one who handles what you cannot. Every person who has ever caused harm to another is living inside a story that is still being written. What looks like an ending from your angle is often still a middle from mine. I see the full arc, what is coming, what is being prepared, what will not remain hidden indefinitely. Nothing done in darkness remains unaddressed in my presence forever. I am telling you this not to give you satisfaction at someone else's expense, but to give you permission to release the weight of waiting for visible consequences before you allow yourself to heal. What I am asking you to do with the person who hurt you is not easy, and I am not pretending it is. I am asking you to place them in my hands. Not because they deserve grace, but because you deserve freedom. Carrying the wound in one hand and the unresolved justice in the other is a double burden that was never meant to be yours to hold indefinitely. Hand it to me. Let me carry the justice. Let me write the ending of that story. And let yourself walk forward without that weight chained to your ankle any longer. I want to shift the frame for a moment. Because I have been talking about what was done to you, and I need to also talk about what you did in response. What you did after. Because that part of the story deserves to be named too, and it rarely is. You got back up. I need you to hear that with the weight it deserves. After everything that was done to you, after the betrayal, after the loss, after the wound that restructured things, after the cost that was extracted from you without your consent, you got back up. Maybe not immediately. Maybe not gracefully. Maybe not with the kind of triumphant resilience that looks good in a testimony. Maybe you got back up slowly, reluctantly, with significant help from sheer stubbornness and very little else. But you got up. And you kept going. And you are here right now, which means the thing that was done to you did not finish what it started. I watched every single time you got back up. And I want you to know, it was not nothing. It was one of the bravest things I have ever witnessed. There were moments when staying down would have been understandable. Moments when the weight of what had happened was genuinely more than most people could have carried. Moments when the logical response to the accumulation of pain would have been to simply stop. To close everything off. To decide that the cost of staying open and trying and hoping and moving forward was too high and the returns were too low and this particular experiment was over. You did not do that. I know it did not feel like courage in the moment. It felt like survival. It felt like having no other options. It felt like going through the motions of a life while the inside felt hollowed out. But from where I stood watching, it was courage. The kind that does not announce itself. The kind that does not receive applause. The kind that shows up in the ordinary moments, getting out of bed, making the phone call, choosing one more time to stay rather than disappear, and does the next small thing even when the next small thing feels completely pointless. That courage has been building something in you that you cannot fully see yet. Every time you chose to keep going, you are depositing something into a version of yourself that is stronger, more anchored, more able to hold what I am preparing to give you than the version that existed before the wound. I know that is difficult to receive. I am not saying the wound was good. I am saying you are good. And the way you have moved through what was done to you has revealed a depth in you that is going to matter enormously in the season you are walking into. I have been building to this. Because everything I have said so far, the acknowledgement, the witness, the validation of the cost, all of it matters. But I also know that what you most need to hear is not only that I saw what happened. You need to hear what I am going to do about it. You need to know that the story does not end with the wound. That what was taken is not gone permanently. That what was broken is being rebuilt, right now, in ways you can and cannot yet see. The trust that was shattered, I am rebuilding the foundation of it. Not by erasing the memory of what broke it, but by bringing people into your life who will give you repeated evidence that trustworthy people exist. They will not come all at once. They will arrive one at a time, in ordinary moments, saying ordinary things. And something in you will recognize, this one is different. This one is safe. Pay attention to that recognition. It is not wishful thinking. It is discernment I placed in you, sharpened by exactly what you went through. I am not sending you back into the world unprotected. I am sending you back with a discernment you did not have before, one that was forged in exactly the fire you walked through. The confidence that was taken from you, the ease you used to carry, the ability to move through the world without constantly bracing, I am restoring it. Not all at once. Restoration of this kind happens in layers, the way skin heals from the inside out. You will notice it in small moments first. A moment when you speak up and are surprised by the steadiness in your own voice. A moment when you walk into a room and realize you are not scanning for threats. A moment when someone questions your worth and you find, to your own surprise, that you do not immediately agree with them. Those moments are the healing showing at the surface. Underneath it has been going much deeper for much longer. The years that felt wasted, the seasons swallowed by survival mode, by recovery, by the long slow process of learning to function around a wound that nobody could see, I am going to redeem them. Not by giving you back the time, because time does not work that way. But by accelerating what those years were supposed to produce. By opening doors that move you forward faster than the linear timeline would have allowed. By connecting you with people and opportunities that compress what would have taken years into seasons. What the wound delayed, my hand is going to accelerate. Watch for it. It will not look like what you expect. But it will be unmistakably mine. I have one thing I am asking of you. Not as a condition, nothing I have promised depends on this. But as an invitation. As the one thing that will allow you to actually receive what I am sending, instead of watching it arrive and being unable to let it land. Stop letting what they did define the borders of what you allow yourself to receive. The wound taught you to live smaller. To want less. To keep your hopes at a height that felt survivable if they collapsed. To expect disappointment so that disappointment could not surprise you. And I understand why, that was a rational adaptation to real pain. But the walls that protected you during the wound are now limiting you beyond it. The borders that kept the pain out are also keeping the restoration out. And I cannot fill a space that you will not open. I am not asking you to be naive. I am asking you to be open. There is a difference. Openness informed by discernment is not the same as the unguarded trust that was exploited before. You are not the same person. Open differently, but open. Let the good things land when they arrive. Resist the habit of immediately auditing them for hidden costs. When someone shows up consistently, let that register. When something goes right, let yourself feel it without immediately bracing for the reversal. When I send something that looks like the answer to a prayer you stopped praying, receive it. Without spending the first week waiting for it to be taken away. This will not happen perfectly. You will slip back into the old posture sometimes. You will catch yourself shrinking when you should be standing, bracing when you should be receiving. That is not failure. That is a habit being slowly retrained. Every time you notice it and choose differently, even slightly, even imperfectly, you are participating in your own restoration. And I am with you in every single one of those moments. Patient. Not keeping score of how many times you forgot before you remembered again. Before I close, I want to give you something solid to hold on to. Not a feeling, feelings come and go. A knowing that you can return to on the days when the old weight tries to come back. When the old voices try to reassert themselves. When the wound tries to convince you one more time that it was the final word on who you are and what you deserve. The final word on who you are has never belonged to the people who hurt you. It has never belonged to the wound, to the season of pain, to the years of survival, or to the cost that was extracted without your permission. The final word on who you are belongs to me. And I have spoken it over you from before the foundation of the world. It has not changed because of what happened to you. It has not been revised in light of your worst seasons. It stands exactly as I spoke it, whole, loved, chosen, purposed, known, and worth every single thing I have ever invested in you. What they did to you was real. The cost was real. The wound was real. And the restoration I am bringing is equally real, more real, actually, because it comes from a source that does not run dry, does not change its mind, and does not give and then take back. I saw what they did to you. I have not looked away for a single moment since. I was in the room when it happened. I counted every cost. I watched every time you got back up. And I am not finished writing your story, not by a long way. I saw what they did to you. I have not forgotten a single detail. And I am not done.